So here's my current predicaments. Yeah. So right now, if you make a brand new project, like completely brand new, and the first thing you do is the Trench Broom game config, enter your Trench Broom games folder, give it a name. FGD files is the default Qodot uh, FGD with these entity definitions. Um, all of them look okay. No base FGDs. Um, this doesn't matter anymore. Hit export file, and then it'll report that there's an invalid call. There's no function called build def text in FGD's solid class. And the problem is that solid class, like the source file, should have, because it extends Qodot FGD class, it should already have build def text in it, right? So somewhere this is getting lost, or it's not casting it to like resource Qodot FGD solid class. Not casting it correctly as the right file. Sorry, it's the right type of the data. It's supposed to return a string, right? But the problem is that there's no function like this whatsoever, so it doesn't matter what string is called. Godot util obviously like exists and is enabled, right? Class name, because these are all static functions and constants, so it should be okay. Godot FGD file. This is only an issue because when you go to the folder that it creates everything successfully. Game config is fine, but Qodot FGD is empty. So with this in mind, uh, you would kind of hope that like FGD solid is just extending the wrong class, but I don't know. Like I don't think that would change it, right? Go back to uh, init. Like hmm. Built of text, entity text. It's supposed to return a string, right? Res. Res is also a string, so it's got to be that. Built-f text returns a string, or at least it should. So then, like, maybe if ents has methods, def text else. Oh, sorry. Maybe I should just like assert. And then do this. And if the assertion fails on a tool script, will it be okay? Let's find out. Assertion failed. Yeah. Reload, the time updated, but the actual contents didn't. Just double checking. Yeah, still good to go. So here's, oh my gosh. When you hit export, it's calling the usual like cost. Maybe it's further in the chain, right? Do you export? Did I mess this up when? Hold on. Ents, ents, FGD contents, entities, definitions. That's... Recently, we had a change that removed some duplicate entity definitions, and it almost feels like this somehow should be related to it, right? So I'm just trying to figure out why. FGD files in here, because the first is world spawn, right? It doesn't. Static body. World class trez. World entity. I just don't know, right? here's the thing that worries me. If I straight up remove world spawn from the list, save resources, hit go, it's going to fail the assertion again still, but can I get a different error out of it? Go back here. Now it's still happening in point class. So something about the way that this is extending FGD class is not realizing that it has build def text in it. So is the issue that, hold on, entities get FGD classes, right? So ent text is class. Isn't there is class type here? Yeah. Ent text is supposed to be a string, but what about ent itself? Because for ent and entities, get FGD classes, range of entity definitions, size, okay, current index, this entity definitions index, this is overcoded, f current entity definition is null, continue, definition, can I do that? If not current entity defined as FGD class, bad value and a different not entity definition. Otherwise, it just appends it, right? So then it has to be Qodot FGD class. Can we assert that current def as methods build def text, right? And then append before we append it. Let's try that, right? This assertion failed at line 68, so we can find that it doesn't actually have it. This isn't going to happen unless it's just straight up empty. That's fine. So why not? Because current def is Qodot FGD class, right? So can we say that it's also Qodot FGD point class? It should I think I'm going in circles in the wrong direction here because build def text, right? This is a point and it should have access to this method. Interesting, it calls it, oh, for each index in the range of entity size. The assertion fails at 71, too. And it doesn't have this method, but it is somehow this class type. So then, current def is this. Okay, let's try one more time. Okay, this is extending the base FGD class, and it should have access to this method. Interesting how this worked. Assertions run later after that. So why not, though? Because it's extending the base FGD class, and it should have access to this method. I mean, like, build def text. This is exactly what it's called, right? Build def text. has method build def text. So then why would build def text not be available, right? Don't need utils. FGD class. FGD file. Wait a second. Is this where it came from? Is this the issue? We're extending Qodot file when we need to extend Qodot class. Is class. Point or solid class. Definitions. Base class list. Because this happens too, doesn't it? Class text. So it doesn't have... Wait a second. Yeah, that's what I thought. So why not? Term resource.